Mr. Malema, very interesting results come these past elections. You are now the fourth biggest party. That particular punch there by the MK, nobody anticipated it.
Well, not necessarily from MK. There was a lot of money invested in stopping the EFF. The campaign was Stop the EFF. So many millions paid to different parties, including the DA, with the sole purpose of stopping the EFF. So we survived a big tsunami, which we should not have survived. And where we are in a much, much more better position because our ground forces fought a good fight. I mean, you had parties saying EFF is enemy number one. You had parties issuing official SMSs that don't vote for EFF. How do you have the ruling party and all oppositions combined against one opposition party? So that allowed then a passage for MK to pass because they were not concentrating on that side. Everybody was concentrating on us. So under the circumstances, we did very well and we came back very strong. I had said when we elected Ramaphosa, my first speech to that parliament was, we're no longer going to fight with bouncers, we're no longer going to be pushing people around, we're going to be an effective opposition, we're going to be robust. And that's exactly what we did since that parliament opened.
How do you unite this particular progressive caucus?
Well, we have agreed to work together and we have agreed to have a joint caucus every week or on Thursdays. They are well-experienced people in MK. There is Des Van Rooyen, there is Sipho, Mbata, there's Andy Tama, and many others. So, understandably so, they are still going to have to learn a lot of things. I mean, we all started there, but so far so good. Once position agreed to by the Progressive Caucus, it gets well articulated by all members of the Progressive Caucus. And we're working with colleagues, especially those who are new, who are more than willing to learn, who are cooperative and always also call upon us if there are issues where they don't have a clear clarity. So we hit the ground running and we did very well. The first thing we had to fight was to remove the DA because the DA was still saying it's an official opposition party. How can you be government and still be an opposition party? We went to amend the rules and then made MK the official opposition party, which some people don't like. And then we're there. We're advocating for almost the same positions. There are no serious differences on policy perspective when it comes to the Progressive Caucus, unlike the other side where there's fundamental policy differences. I mean, if you take ATM and EFF, there are irritations about open borders and foreigners, matters that over a period of time we will be able to persuade one another, but those are not matters that can make us not work with them.
Is the MK party a threat to the existence of the EFF?
Well, it is not a crisis. It's a political contestation. They are a force to be reckoned with. We might have underestimated their potential, but now we are aware. And there will be a lot of intervention that will be made in KZN to be alive to the reality that occurred on the 29th of May. The fighters put up a fight in KZN, and most of the people that we received in 2019 were actually the supporters of President Zuma, who didn't want Ramaphosa, and they didn't have a political home. And then they came to the EFF, and when President Zuma came with an alternative, then they shifted back to President Zuma. It is not a lost ground. It's a ground that when we work it, we must work it with that understanding that there is serious political contestation. It's not an issue that is not doable. It's doable. We can turn the corner because if you look at the IFP, it increased its vote. So Why would the IFP increase votes and we don't increase votes? It means we lapsed, and therefore we had agreed that at an appropriate time from Kimberley, we should have an engagement on how we're going to move forward in KZN.